All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again here to Virtual Racing Network for our last broadcast of the week. Unless Sunday's the last day of the week for you, then we still have one more coming up. If today's the last day, then we're done for the week. Whichever you look at it. We're here on a Friday night with the CarKeepers.com Super Speedway Series here at Talladega Super Speedway. That means there is no three-wide rule tonight, so it is going to be all-out battling here at Talladega. Before we get into all of that racing stuff here, though, we bring in our second chair. We want to go over all the sponsors and partners that make this race possible and this broadcast possible, starting, of course, with CarKeepers.com, the title sponsor here for this series. If you need maintenance on your car, whether it be brakes, oil changes, whatever it needs to be, if you don't have the time or just don't know how to do it, go to CarKeepers.com. They can take the hassle out of that and send somebody to your house to take care of that for you, so you don't even have to worry about it. Again, make sure you head on over to CarKeepers.com if you need their services, and we know there are people out there that do. So again, head to CarKeepers.com. On the broadcast side of things, we have a lot of partners that have partnered up here with us for 2018. One of those does include Walls Beard Co. Beard Balm. Again, we're getting their new logo in here. We've just about recovered from our computer deal here. But if you have a beard, you need to take care of it. It is a must. There is no better way to do so than with some Walls Beard Co. Beard Balm. All natural and organic products and different scents to pick from as well. So you can head on over to wallsbeardco.com to pick some of that product up today. SimSpeedShop.com, your one-stop shop for button boxes and e-brakes for you rallycross racers. If you are an iRacer, these are a must. They definitely will help you out, as you can program just about anything to those button boxes. And e-brakes, well, you need it if you're going to be doing some real serious rallycross racing. So head on over to SimSpeedShop.com and pick up one or both of those items. Northwest Racing Series. They are the official one-to-go sponsor, and we also cover them on Monday and Wednesday nights now at 10:30 Central, 8:30 Pacific time. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you're in the Northwest Club here on iRacing, they are always looking at new members. Ohio IndyCar League, no longer just taking Ohio club members. If you're looking to get some IndyCar racing into your life on iRacing, there's no better place to do it than Ohio IndyCar League. You can go to the Book of Face, go to facebook.com/Ohio IndyCar League to get all the latest information. iBog, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, your sim race broadcast graphic source. If you're looking to get into broadcasting or just need some overlays made, head on over to ibog.co and get a hold of Jason Allison. You'll see some new stuff here tonight, as we do have our new tweaks to ours in here. Just some new stuff we've been working on, so make sure you look for that as well. Randy's Wraps here. Again, we probably won't have time for a pre-race interview. We'll see if we do. If not, your post-race show will be brought to you by Randy's Wraps. If you are, of course, on iRacing as well, you need to look good going around this track. So make sure you head on over to Facebook and get a hold of Randy Post from Randy's Wraps to get you a really nice paint job for a really good price. That being said here, it is time once again to introduce our second chair for the night. And he really needs no introduction here, but we have to, and that is Jeff, the professional champion stab now. So Jeff, welcome to the booth once again.
The myth grows. I love it, Charles. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, we are doing good. Again, recovering from a complete meltdown of the computer there for our hard drive from our motherboard. So looks like for the most part we're back here.
Yeah. I recently, I can't say that I recovered from a meltdown. It was a little self-imposed problem myself. I decided to do some of my own upgrades, and man, I've had about a nightmarish month there trying to sort through it. But I think we've about got most of the problems figured out on my end, and I'm glad to hear we got them figured out on your end. And hopefully we can do this fantastic show that I know these guys are going to put on here tonight, some justice with our broadcast.
Yeah, and for the record, I'm a little disappointed. I'm glad your stuff's about fixed, but for anyone that doesn't know the backstory behind this, I'm a little disappointed that he solved it on his own because I had a halfway promise of wings for life if I fixed his computer for him. However, he did recant that because he knows I eat way too many wings, and he'd be broke either way if he did that. So he did sort of take that back, but we are glad she got it fixed.
Yeah, well, it's I can't say that it's fixed. We think we have it fixed here. I think I have it fixed. We'll see where it's at, but the last two outings have been pretty rock solid here. So I'm excited to. I think I'm out of excuses. Here now, we're just going to put on a good show, Charles.
Yeah, definitely going to be putting on a good show here. Tonight's race, of course, 75 laps here at Talladega. It's actually, we have it listed at 200 miles. It's actually only 199.5 miles. So it's going to be a very long race. I guess it'd be long for these guys, and it'll be a little long for us, but I expect to see some really good racing. Hopefully we won't see too many cautions here. Again, unlike Daytona, though, they can go three wide from the start. I'm a little disappointed, though, because Akers, who in the 4, who my prediction to go three wide first usually, because he loves to do it, will not be here tonight, so I have to pick somebody else.
Well, I'm sure there are plenty of people willing to give us a little bit of three wide action here tonight. You know, this track's quite a bit wider than Daytona. It really is a lot easier to run three wide. You can even run four wide on this track. You know, if you're good like these guys are, these guys run the super speedway stuff every week. So you've got an entire league here of guys that are well versed in super speedways and driving 6 inches off the other guy's bumper and 3 inches off the door handle and know how to run a straight line. Now, that doesn't mean they always run a straight line. We still get some cautions. Things happen. It's still hard, but these guys are as good as anyone at it, and a track like Talladega, I expect to see some three-wide and maybe even some four-wide racing here today. And, you know, one thing about these guys, you know, even if the caution count gets up, it's always a fantastic show. These guys, there's no there's no slacking with these guys. They're battling out to the end every time.
Yeah, they definitely are. And just to give some facts here for this series, as I am looking at the point standings right now, looking just through the 9 races that we have completed here as we're on race 10, we have not had a single pole winner actually win the race in this series so far. So, you know, no surprise there. It is super speedway racing, but it makes you wonder, maybe are we overdue here for someone to win pole and win this race all at the same week?
Well, I don't know what you mean by overdue. If we're talking about the law of averages, I'm still going to say no. You know, we get 25, 30 guys out here a week, and I think everybody that comes out here in this track has a fairly decent shot. You know, a lot of tracks, when we cover small tracks, short tracks and mile and a halves and stuff, a qualified time or a fastest practice time can indicate who's the fastest guy out there. Well, that's not the case here. We are wide open, super speedway draft, and we're pack racing. And when you go out there and qualify, you're running all by yourself up against the wall, trying not to scrub speed up. You're running a line that actually you will not run again in the race. You're not driving like that in the race. So who's on the pole at a super speedway has no bearing on anything that happens in the race other than you get to start in the front. So are we due? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, valid point there. So we'll see. I may have to dig deeper here and see what the stats are for people in the top 5, top 10 that start roughly up there and finish in there, to see kind of what the ratio is, see if anyone consistently is finishing there. We have seen some pretty big wrecks. So I know last week a lot of our good drivers were taken out of contention early in the race. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen here again tonight. Obviously, looking here, next race will be September 11th, and that will start or September 11th, the 14th. September 14th, and that will be the first of the chase races. So that will shake things up here a little bit once we get into the chase. And also to mention here, things shaking it up. This is the first race since the new Camaro came out.
Yeah, I'm actually a little interested to see that. I downloaded the Camaro and actually loaded into this session with the Camaro, which is pretty meaningless because, we don't get to drive around the track or anything in it, but they do let us pick the car. So I was pretty excited and did choose that. But, we don't know much about the Camaro. We assume that, like most cars in the NASCAR series, they're all pretty much the same shell, just got different stickers on them. But regardless, like yourself, I'm excited to see that mean-looking grill, that Camaro grill out there tonight.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see here. And again, one thing, like you said, it's just a different shell, maybe some different stickers looking. As far as the way it handles an arrow, I think it'll be about the same. But again, this really hasn't been tested a whole lot as far as how it's going to draft. Yes, iRacing does their testing, but we really haven't got to test it a whole lot. One thing I want to look for here tonight, very closely, is the bumper hook. With this new car, it's going to have its new invisible barrier around it. Will that pose a problem for bumper hook and people getting spun around? I think we might have lost Jeff here. Well, hopefully we get Jeff back, but regardless, we got about 3 minutes left here. As he is, something definitely happened. Looked like he lost connection, but we'll see if we can get him back. But we have 3 minutes now, 2:50 left on the clock. So again, for anyone tuning in with us just now, we definitely thank you for tuning in here for tonight's broadcast. We are just about ready for the national anthem coming up. Let us know in chat, though, do you have a favorite driver? I know we got Justin Levine in chat with us. We do have Ashley in there, so we know who those guys are rooting for here. So definitely let us know in chat who you're rooting for. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you like it. And, of course, subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of all upcoming events. We do have a lot of stuff in the works here for VRN, so make sure you do get ready for that. We got about 30 seconds till the national anthem, so we will be right back here. And actually, we'll stay here as Jeff is back here, so welcome back.
Yeah, I think I'm back. I thought I was here last time, but apparently you couldn't hear me. Looks like we're having some problem resolving our hosting here to the server, so looks like there might be some internet issues on my side, and hopefully we are being revisited by those PC problems that we got rid of.
Yeah, we do got you a little robo voice going on there too, but it is that time real fast. We're going to try to sort that out. We'll be right back here after the national anthem with qualifying. All right, so my apologies. I don't know where our national anthem went. It is not in our thing. It was here yesterday, so we do apologize for that. We're not going to be able to get to the national anthem here tonight. We'll have to figure out where it went. Again, I do apologize for that. Definitely, we're glad everyone's here. This is just some of the pains of getting a new PC. Some stuff apparently has come up missing here. So, again, that is definitely on us. That's all our apologies. We got 44 seconds, so we're going to step away, get those mic issues fixed, and we will be right back with qualifying. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with qualifying underway. Jeff's still going to get his issues fixed here if he can. Hopefully, he will be able to make it here. Again, one problem solved and now having some internet issues, so we're going to try to get those sorted out. But that being said, we are going to go ahead and put up our driver bars. We have a brand new driver bar here, and normally you'd see the logo there for the car, but we don't have it in here because it is a brand new car, so we'll have to get that in here for the new Chevrolet. As it is a new car, we just don't have the logo for, even though we do have it. We'll have to readjust that into here. But right now you're watching the Kickstart Mountain Dew, number 83 of Jason Papp out on the track. What kind of times will he put in? We'll see. Everybody's out on the track here with 350 left in qualifying. So we'll just have to keep an eye very close here. Once times start coming in, we will put up your top 20 times here in qualifying just to let you know who is starting where. Oh, again, thanks everybody for tuning in here tonight. Should be a great night of racing. We'll see how it goes. How many cautions will we have? Will we have a lot? Will we have a few? That's questions we just can't answer until racing starts. And it will be a very interesting question to answer. As, again, we got a lot of drivers out here. And we want to go over to Chase Galvin, who's out on the track. As we were told, has a special paint job out there. So we're going to check it out here. I believe it was for his little sister, if I'm not mistaken. Give us just a minute here. We'll see if we can't pull Chase Galvin in here. Chase Galvin, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're on here. We heard you had a special paint job, so we're showing it off here. Do you want to give the viewers out there a little bit of insight as to what that paint job is for?
Yes, sure. It's a paint scheme for my daughter. She has went through a lot in her life. She was born with a brain tumor and had a lot of surgeries, so she's fighting her way back, and I thought I'd run a special scheme for her.
All right, well, it is an awesome looking paint job, and I don't know where I got sister from, but it's for his daughter. Awesome looking car in general, and then a nice looking paint job on there as well. But we'll let you get back to qualifying, and we'll see you during the race.
I appreciate it, brother.
All right, again, that was the 26th of Chase Galvin running a special paint job for his daughter here. And it is a nice, it's actually a really nice color pink too. For pink being on a car, it looks really good. The times are starting to come in, so we'll go ahead and get to those as they're bringing it to a stop. They got a minute 38, and there are the times coming in. Scott Warren at the top in that 76 machine, doing a great job there, as he is going to put it at the top. And not for long is Harry Tiller is going to take it to the top in that Shell Pennzoil 112 with a 51.389. A very fast time for him. And Brandon Wilson going to take it to second with a 51.421, as he will come in just shy of first place by .032. So a very good time, just not quite enough to make it on to pole. We'll see Chase Galvin back in 20th right now. So far, Scott Leitner, Randy Post, Eric Green, and Dan Harrington are not going to start. Gary Champion going to be in third place right now in that 18 machine, as he's going to pull it to a stop. So that will basically do it here for qualifying. You got 38 seconds left, and it looks like we do have a Jeff back now. Hopefully, internet issues will not be plaguing him here tonight.
Well, I hope maybe we got them figured out. It appears that while we have some of the bugs worked out, we may not have all the settings fixed. OneDrive decided to sync itself, and looks like it might have buried my internet.
Well, that will do it. I did find out who you're speaking about that. That first night there, we finally got back. We got everything ready in about 10-15 minutes before your broadcast on Wednesday night. That was our issue with our encoding overload. it was actually trying to sync about 60-something replays from iRacing to our hard drive while the race was going on. It finally stopped. We got everything sorted out. But yeah, you probably shouldn't be syncing stuff, or not intentionally. We obviously wasn't doing it on purpose, but wasn't the best thing going on when you're trying to broadcast a race for sure.
Well, I got that turned on. We're loading back in. I think everything sounds like it's working. I can hear you guys fine, but apparently you couldn't hear me, so that would be explained also by that. So hopefully we got it figured out.
I think so too, and I'm not sure. Are you still able to see where everyone qualified, or is that blank for you?
I'm not even loaded in yet. We're just all I've got right now is audio. I'll be in here in about a minute, but I don't have any standings or anything right now.
All right. Well, that being said, then I'll go ahead and run through our qualifying grid real fast here. We only have one lap, even though it is a huge one. We have a lot of cars here tonight, around 28 or so we'll get to it. On row 1 is going to be the 112 of Harry Tiller and the 501 of Brandon Wilson. Row 2 is going to be the 18 of Gary Champion and the 76 of Scott Warren. Row 3 is going to be the 00 of Dwayne Cooper and the 32 of Alexander Russell. Row 4 is going to be the 50 of Jeffrey Meyer and Daniel Jackson. I'm not sure. It's the 71 of Daniel Jackson. Row 5 is going to be the 84 of TJ Buck and the 63 of Jody Burton. Row 6 is going to be the 16 of Jason Eisenhower and the 350 of Alex Keinzer. Row 7 is going to be the 41 of Darren Manning and the 6 of Steven Patterson. Row 8 is going to be the 420 of Donovan Ransa and the 48 of Mark Johnson. Row 9 is going to be the 388 of Douglas Johnson and the 21 of Daniel Holloway. Row 10 is going to be the 13 of Ted Manning and the 83 of Jason Papp. Row 11 is going to be the 26 of Chase Galvin and the 25 of Mitch Beaver. Row 12 is going to be the 95 of John Lombard and the 24 of PJ O'Leary. Row 13 is going to be the 54 of Randy Post and the 66 of Scott Leitner, who is actually not starting the race, and that will do it here for the Walls Beard Co. starting grid for tonight's race, and I expect to see a really good race as we have about 30 drivers here, most of which I will say is a lot of this new Camaro tonight.
Yeah, it's I'm hoping you can hear me. I think we got it figured out here, but yeah, a lot of new Camaros out there tonight, and I really like the front end on there. It looks good. Maybe it's just the homer in me that's excited to see something new, but it sure looks good out there.
Yeah, it definitely does. We can hear you loud and clear, and hopefully these guys are able to hear each other loud and clear down in race chat, because well, they're about to go 75 laps.
Yeah, now 75 laps, Talladega, I'll tell you, that's going to wear you out. Not as bad as Daytona. Again, we're not quite as tight. We got a little more room, and you can relax a little bit more behind the wheel. But maybe that's because somebody's not quite on your door, but you're still on somebody's bumper. You got somebody on your bumper, so we don't have a lot of relaxing going here. So these guys will be tired, stiff shoulders, and some of them will probably be a basket of nerves when it's over, and others will just be glad that it is finally over.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the other option for some of these guys, it may be over before it is for the rest of them.
Yeah, we got two fast repairs tonight, and again, Talladega, a little bit bigger track. Let's hope we don't have to break into those too early tonight. I expect we're going to see some good racing here.
Yeah, I definitely expect to see the same. And we'll see. We're seeing a lot of really nice paint jobs out here tonight, so we'll try to highlight some of those later on as the green flag does come out, and we are racing here for the first time tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. As again, it looks like they are creeping along, and well, kind of because they're only at 160. They'll be near 200 miles an hour, but these cars take a bit to get going.
Yeah, I'm not sure we may even exceed. I think we'll see speeds upwards 202, 204 miles an hour. You're right, these things are geared, really tall gears here, so it takes them a little while to get wound up, which is part of what makes getting on and off pit road so crucial. If we have green flag pit stops, not losing the draft, all that stuff is crucial to staying with this lead pack here. And we're already seeing some three wide here, Charles.
Yeah, we are.
Four wide there for a second, but it's a good, solid three wide here. We've got a two-car outside row right now as one of the cars drop back down into that middle row.
Yeah, you got Scott Warren in the 76 starting that three wide, and looks like for the most part, not many people are wanting to go up there. He's got the 32 behind him of Alexander Russell, which was last week's winner. So you got the former winner, but that was at Daytona, not at Talladega. But again, Pat, last week's winner pushing you. So you got to be a little happy with that if you got a proven winner behind you.
Well, we've talked about this a lot in this series and other series too that we do. And the key to super speedway racing is knowing who's around you and putting yourself near guys that you're comfortable driving around. A lot of times that's teammates. Or in this case, you're running a super speedway series with these guys week in and week out. You know who you're comfortable driving around, and that's huge here. You have to drive near guys that you're comfortable and can predict what they're going to do, how they're going to react. It's the key to survival.
Yeah, it is. Situational awareness is huge as they're bobbing and weaving back here. Just really close, and surprisingly now, I would say this is almost single file. There are a few drivers out there. It looks like the 501 of Brandon Wilson is going to be the first one too wide, but this front group has for about 8 deep really is single wide now, or single file. Not even a whole lot of 2 wide, much less 3 wide. I really didn't expect that here.
Well, it takes a lot of cars to get that outside line going, and if you don't have those cars in that outside, it's almost like a test of will to get that outside line going, because you will lose a ton of ground. I mean, as we look at the 34 back there, kind of fall back to the cars, he's lost a lot of spots, and so it's real easy to bail on that outside row and take the first opening you see on the inside there. And then we see the 34 just kind of get left behind as the cars that were coming right up on him actually drove around him to start a third row because of the speed differences that were sucking up in the draft. So I think just looking at 34, there's a prime example of why it's so hard to get that outside row going, especially early in the race, where a lot of these guys are just of the mindset, let's get through this first field run, and then we'll start racing.
Yeah, and that will be a good cue to watch for to see if that does happen. As we got a lot of people, we just saw the chat, we were just noticing it too. A lot of people are sneaking from the back of this field here. One of those, of course, being Daniel Holloway. As we'll go here, we'll start with first and go back and see just where they started and where they're at now. First place started first. He's in first right now. Dwayne Cooper started fifth. He's went up to second place here. Jeffrey Meyer 7th to third. We got Mark Johnson 16th to fourth. Gary Champion third. He's actually fallen back a little bit to fifth. Daniel Holloway 18th to 16th, which again is nothing too surprising here. It's exactly what we expect. These guys start in the back, but it doesn't mean anything.
No, you'll see some guys. You'll see plenty of guys go back to front multiple times tonight. And now, if we don't have that third row going, it gets a little harder right now because as of right now, you're not going to crack that top 8 unless you're, we get that outside row going. It can't get started, but we got so many laps left to go. Here eventually you're going to see some of that outside row go from about 15th to 1st and probably get shuffled back to 20th again.
Yeah, and back there a little ways we're starting to see a little bit of 3 wide. Back here, I'm not sure, maybe the 16 of Jason Eisenhower. It is. He's tucked back in now. And very surprising here is what I don't see, and we have seen in the past, is a second group a little bit off of these guys. They are actually staying right there with the pack. Usually we see another group that's far enough back to avoid a big wreck happening, but we don't see that here tonight. There are 2 back, but they've probably just lost the draft a little bit, but they're still in it, I think. They're not out of this draft completely, but no major group holding back.
Yeah, and again, I think that's a product of this wider track, easier. You're less likely to have those wrecks that we talked about, and especially the tame driving that we've got going on right now. These guys haven't gotten really aggressive, and we don't see a lot of guys making those real aggressive moves right now. So if you're in the back of that and just watch everybody kind of cruise around, maybe you're comfortable and don't see a reason to go form up a backpack. So I'm sure if things get just a little bit wild up front, you're going to see some guys break away and go cruise around 5 or 6 seconds behind this pack.
Yeah, I definitely do. And that is we talk about every week, that's a great strategy. If you start seeing things get a little hairy, you do not want to be in the middle of it. And no pun there to Harry Tiller, who was leading this race. He has led all but one lap. Gary Champion did lead one lap. He's back in 5th right now. But these guys, we've seen before, they can get really aggressive and they can really press issues and stuff. They are actually being very common as far as I'm concerned here for this race.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of impatience. You don't see these guys right up on each other's bumpers, right? You see, relatively speaking here, what looks like 3-4 feet, quarter of a car length in between a lot of these cars, and that means they're just cruising, right? When they start pressing and try to get their line moving, they're going to drive right up on top of that bumper of the car in front of them. They'll be, about 6 inches or so away from them. Now, we see this guy that's in the outside row leading it that pulled out from the inside row. He's got no help, so now he's going to have to drive a little bit more aggressive. He's got to come right down on top of these guys and use what's called the side draft to try to stay in that position until he gets more help. So he's going to have to drive a foot or so off of their doors, and when he doesn't, he's going to fall back a little bit. But we do have a line starting to form now. He didn't lose too many spots, and they're not sucked up yet. If they get sucked up, they maybe start moving to the front. But like we said, right now, it looks like everybody kind of just finding a place to ride around for a bit.
Yeah, that's the big thing with that second and especially the third row is everybody wants to go out there and try to get to the lead, but nobody wants to be the first one to do it because, everybody knows everybody wants to. They want to get to the front. That's obviously the point of racing, but they don't know who is willing to do it when. So if you're that first one, you're taking a huge gamble. Again, it's not too big because you can come back easily if you get back there and you can work your way back up. But for the short term, it's a huge gamble. Long term, not so much, as you can easily lose 10, 15 spots. But it looks like that outside row is starting to form together. They're about dead even as far as car count.
Yeah, and we can tell how hard they're driving by seeing how close those guys are to each other, front to back. Rear bumper to front bumper, and the first 3 or 4 cars in that outside line, they were dang near making contact there for a little bit on the bumpers. So they've decided to try to move on up and possibly cycle up the front. I would imagine they're going to try to push each other to the front and then have that front car dive down to the inside. Of course, now as I say that, they start to spread out a little bit, but looks like these guys are trying to form up a bit. And then the cars behind that 4th car on that outside row, they seem to be more inclined to just cruise around right now.
Yeah, I think they are too, just kind of cruising around. And they're actually, there for a second, they were a little bit of a gap. And you've got 3 or 4 that are hanging back there a little further now. That group's starting to grow. So again, you can't count those out. Well, back there to those guys, as it looks like it's Daniel Jackson, Ted Manning, Eric Green, and Steven Patterson. Never count these guys out. They're going to stay back there in that little group and, just maybe wait for something big to happen up front, and you could gain easily, 10, 15, 20 spots.
Yeah, and these guys on the outside are cooling there for a second, but while you were talking there, the 48 of Mark Johnson and Dwayne Cooper in the 00. Mark Johnson was on his bumper, as he is again right now, and that forced the inside row to do the same. So we had the first 2 cars in both rows were pushing it quite a bit there. So intensity is starting to ratchet up a little bit.
Yeah, and just while you were talking, Mark Johnson actually blinked out. Not sure if you saw that, but he blinked out a little bit That is, scary as it is, but that's even multiplied more scarier. He's sitting in second, third place right now at the front of this field. You blink out and someone gets into him and they wreck. That could easily wreck the whole front of this field.
Well, we just talked about the 48 was one of the 4 cars, really 4 or 5 cars out there that was pushing it hard. These guys are running right on each other's bumpers. So, of all the cars to blink out right there at that moment, you probably could have pinpointed 5 that you didn't want to see it happen to. And the 48 was one of those.
Yeah, he definitely was. It's just something you definitely don't want to happen, as he is the race leader now. So we've had 3 different leaders here so far in this race. Tiller has led 9, Cooper 3, and Champion 1. And it looks like the 48 of Mark Johnson is not going to make it back to the line. That outside line had, I think, a little momentum, but it just doesn't have it now, as they've fallen back to 3 cars versus about 8. So they really need that outside line to kind of come together more. But it looks like people tried it, they didn't like it, and they went back to single file.
Well, we had about 3 or 4 cars really that looked like they were trying to push it there in the outside row a little bit. And then we said everybody else in that outside row looked like they were just kind of hanging back and cruising. And so the first thing we did was push one of those outside row cars right to the inside, to first place. And then, it left us one last car. Now we see Mark Johnson. He saw that row dying too, so he ducked right down onto the inside row into the 5th place in line there, because he saw just what you were talking about. The momentum of that outside line was dying, and now these guys are just looking for a place to dive into that inside row, 501 as well, and look for the last car to duck in behind the 501 there, just as he did, the 31.
And to go back here just a little bit, I want to go back to the 26 of Chase Galvin, as they're 2 wide back here. You actually, you were getting your stuff reset there when we interviewed Chase here for the pre-race interview. It's actually while he was qualifying. But he's got a special paint job on there, as we'll actually zoom in again on that. That is for his daughter, who he said has had a brain tumor and a bunch of surgeries. So a special paint job on there for her tonight.
Well, that's fantastic. There's nothing worse than children who are sick or hurt or anything like that. So, it gets to me just hearing about it. So maybe I'm glad I didn't hear the interview. I think that's pretty neat that he's running it, and I'm just going to have no choice but to root for Chase Galvin tonight.
Yeah, I'm really hoping he can do good here tonight. He's always one of the ones that runs usually mid to upper in the field, so definitely rooting for him here tonight. Sorry to the VRN car, but we can't vote for you. We're rooting for the 26 here tonight. But he is on his way. He's got a lot of company here. They're really starting to go 2 and 3 wide. Mainly 2 wide back here. Contrary to the front, is I stand corrected. They're going 2 wide again at the front, and we may have a new leader of Jeffrey Meyer.
Yeah, we had Jeffrey Meyer and Gary Champion both ducked out behind Dwayne Cooper there. Kind of left him hung out to dry, because when those 2 guys pulled outside, there was a 2-car gap between him and everyone else behind, and he lost quite a bit of momentum there. But then they ended up going 3 wide there. And so when all that shuffling was going on, inside row was able to get gathered back up, and looks like they're kind of holding off that charge now. Meanwhile, those 2 cars that tried to jump out to that outside line have both kind of been hung out on that 3rd line all by themselves. So we'll have to see if they're able to duck back into the middle here, or if they're going to ride this out, or continue to drift back, as we see Gary Champion already dumped down to that middle row.
Yeah, I do. And I want to point out here, I will knock on some wood very quietly so you don't hear it on the stream. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is borderline the most laps this season that we have gone caution-free, or it is very close to it or over it, as we're on lap 19 right now. I'm wondering if these guys love these Camaros so much they just don't want to tear them up here tonight.
I think maybe these guys...
Apparently that wood was not good enough. Caution is out, number 1.
I think we're going to have to blame you for this one, Charles. I don't even know if there's any point in going back to the replay. We know who caused this one.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one, but we'll come back and take a look. I think, unfortunately, I may have jinxed it. Ted, Mitch, if you're hearing this, the league owners, I claim no responsibility. Right as we say it, the caution comes out, and we'll see kind of what happened here. As I'm not sure who went around. I think it was a bumper hook, though.
Well, I'm just really hoping you didn't get Chase Calvin's daughter's paint job messed up there, Charles. I'd be a little upset if you did that.
I think he managed to squeeze through. This all happened. It did happen behind him. As we'll take another look here. We'll go up to the blimp camera. It looks.
I see the 16 of Jason Eisenhower was in it.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. I think it was the 338 possibly. Somebody got hooked. It was a. Yeah, the 338 got hooked by the 32 is what caused it. As we're watching it right here on the replay camera. And all was good. And actually the 32 may have got a bump from the 95 to actually initiate it. And then it was pretty much on from there as drivers going into the inside wall pretty hard.
Yeah, just we're getting a little ramped up back there. A little bit of 3-wide action. It wasn't a real... solidly formed up 3-wide line. We had a lot of movement there. We had some guys kind of some in-between lanes. And like you said, we had the 32 car look like he just got kind of caught in no man's land there. He wasn't really on the inside lane, wasn't really on the outside lane, and ended up clipping the left rear quarter panel of the 388, and around they went.
They did indeed. And everybody coming down pit road, no surprise there. That everybody would come down as we'll switch over to pit lane camera 1, and we'll see who comes out first. Right now, Dwayne Cooper is being scored. Technically, was your leader. Now it is going to be Harry Tiller back to the lead in the 112 as he is the first one on pit road. But we'll see. Is he going to get out first? It is going to be a battle here as it's going to be Scott Warren that comes out first, followed by Daniel Holloway.
Yeah, Scott Warren, Daniel Holloway, first one's out of there. Now, I'm not showing Daniel Holloway is actually stopping in his pit box, Charles. I'm showing him coming down pit lane, but I don't show a stop in the pit box. I'm also showing Scott Warren, Dwayne Cooper, P.J. O'Leary is probably taking 2 tires, which I think is a good call. I don't think tires are an issue here, so getting out of the pit box faster, good call. Not sure with Daniel Holloway. I wouldn't be worried if he didn't take tires right now, but coming down pit road, I'm a little surprised he didn't take at least 2.
Well, on mine, I'm showing he was there on pit road for 10.3 seconds. So,
okay.
So it's a good thing one of ours is showing up there. But yeah, it looks like from what I'm looking at, our front 3 took, like you said, 3 tires. Our front 3 took 2 tires. I'll eventually get it out here. Even I'd say top 4, 11.9. Seconds. Then we got, surprisingly here, Mark Johnson, 14.8 seconds. So he took 4 tires and actually beat out Gary Champion, who took 6. So he was a little bit higher in his pit stall due to qualifying. So again, qualifying does have its benefits. Not so much for where you start, but on pit road, definitely an advantage.
Yeah, it is at this track. I mean, if you've got one of those front pit stalls, front 2, you can really kind of rip out of there and not have to worry so much about your speed and speeding and start playing at the throttle. I mean, you can just full on accelerate it from that front pit box and not worry about getting caught for speeding. So it is a huge advantage there. Whereas all these other guys are spinning their tires, sliding around, trying to merge into traffic coming out of that pit box. And then they've got to worry about speeding. So you're watching everybody around you and trying to watch your speed. I lead our league in black flag speeding penalties in pit road myself, so maybe I'm making it out to be bigger than it is, but it can be tough and challenging, and having that front pit box is definitely an advantage.
Yeah, it definitely is, and already the lights are off. We were going to cut to a commercial break, but no point, lights are off. And one thing I do know, when it comes to black flags, I don't know if you lead the most in black flag penalties. However, I think you do lead your league in the most false starts on road courses, but you just have to poke a little fun at you for that one.
Well, yeah, There at our Indy race there, Charles, I did have 3 black flags. I don't know that you saw them all, but I got 3 pit road violations there and black flag 3 times. So I think I lead it in both.
Well, good for you. I missed a lot of that race as it had been a long day. Good news is I hadn't even got to talk to you. We may have a second chair possibly coming up here soon. So we are in talks with someone. We're going to just kind of scout them out a little bit, see how they do, and maybe throw them into the booth here and there for other stuff. And you never know, we may have our second chair filled.
Well, I'll tell you what, I better get my act together. It's a whole lot easier to look or sound like a professional when you're not competing against anybody. So I will straighten up here and see if I can't do a little bit better job now, Charles.
Well, you're already deemed a professional, so I don't think you can do much better than that. As speaking of doing good, you got to get a good start here. Hopefully nobody spins these tires. They do have 2 new and 2 old. Like you said, I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. But we'll see. We currently have on the track 27 on the track. 2 of those off the lead lap. Eric Green and Douglas Johnson are 1 lap down. But every car that has started is on the track right now. 21 laps completed. We're on lap 22 and about to be lap 23 as the green flag is getting set to come out. And they're already getting bunched up here, and they're going to get a very good start here. I think they're nice and bunched up. So we'll see. I don't think too many people are going to get spread out. And there it is. Green flag is out, and the 76 of Scott Warren is going to hold them to the very last minute.
Yeah, meanwhile, our leader of the outside row, the 21, Daniel Holloway, disappeared there for a second before he came back, or at least did on my screen. He was the only one that blinked out. So I know we got some Daniel Holloway fans here in chat. And if he's having some internet problems, that's going to make you nervous.
Yeah, it definitely makes you nervous. And the thing is, for the person behind the wheel, you may not even know you're blinking out. Everybody else knows you're blinking out, but you yourself may not know it. So definitely something that scares everyone else more than it does you.
Yeah. There's, when you're driving, there's 2 kinds of blink outs. Usually it's the one where you don't know it and you see everybody there and don't realize that you're bouncing around the track or disappearing. And then there's the one where you're driving across the track and all of a sudden you don't see anybody else on the track, and those are the scary ones.
Yeah, and we're sitting there watching the 18 of Gary Champion now. He just went all the way below the yellow line with half his car and got real out of shape. Ooh, as we got more cars getting out of shape. And that almost was very bad. As I don't know if you saw that. I believe that was a 24 of P.J. O'Leary got real out of shape.
No, I have to confess here, I'm having an issue with some paints. I see Daniel Holloway's got that nice yellow car on your broadcast, but he's black for me, and I was trying to fix my paints.
Well, that is not good. Yeah, there's a lot of really nice paint jobs, especially all these new Camaros out here. I think there's only 2 or 3 old Chevrolets out here, but everybody coming in with really nice paint jobs here with these new Chevrolets. And yeah, Daniel Holloway, as we'll zoom in there, that is a really nice Pennzoil paint there. And I think he did it himself. He does have the banner on there. A really nice paint job as he's sitting in 4th place right now, trying to see what he can do to get up to the front and lead this thing. Hit my keyboard there. It's well, I'd say 6 cars there are single file, and once again we're not seeing a whole lot of 2 wide. These guys are being very patient here tonight.
There's no reason to get too crazy right now. You still got 50 laps left. Talladega, you've been racing with this crew all year. You know these guys like to get 3 lines moving, so it's not like you're going to get stuck and not be able to find a line that's moving. So everybody's going to have their different go time. For somebody it might be, the last fuel run 35 laps or so. For somebody it might be 15 laps. Some guys might start pushing it at 25. But probably not a whole lot of guys thinking there's 50 laps to go and I better get moving yet.
Yeah, they definitely just no real need to get moving, like you said. And we are seeing a little bit of movement. People kind of zigzagging back and forth. And, that is not uncommon with these cars. For anyone that's not familiar with how they run, just because we see them like Daniel Holloway's doing right now, kind of getting out of his main line, he's not doing that to go start a new line out there. He's actually doing that, for one, to try to get some clean air, and two, as you've said before, if you're bumper to bumper, you can't see in front of you. You have to do something to kind of see what's ahead of you.
Well, and then there's a third reason too. But yeah, a lot of times you'll offset in the corners to try to get something steady to look at so you can drive steady. You'll also try to cool your vehicle. You want to get some of that air opening exposed and get a cool car, especially like right now where you're running a little bit tight up there. You don't have anybody coming. And so you don't need to press it. You want to keep that car as cool as possible right now, engine temperature-wise. So when somebody does get up there, you can push longer. And then the third reason is, we talk about the closer you are to the car in front of you, the faster you make it go by taking air off of that rear spoiler. Well, the same goes for being offset. The straighter you are in line with him, the more air you take off. So sometimes if you just want to control the speed of the guy in front of you and keep them a little closer on your bumper or suck up, you'll also offset because offset slows him down more than it slows you down by allowing more air to get to his rear spoiler, and so you can be faster by slowing the guy down in front of you, getting back to his bumper and pushing there. So there's a lot going on with these cars. They are hard to keep in a straight line, but as you said, there's multiple reasons why a guy might duck out half a car width.
Yeah, and two, we talk about this all the time here, is, for what it looks like to everyone watching, it looks like they're just hammering the gas and going. But you look up to Scott Warren, we don't have telemetry to pull it, but there's a chance he could possibly at some point be trail braking a little bit, hitting that brake and dragging it a little bit, to kind of control this field, keep them to his back bumper. You don't necessarily go flat out all around this track. You can ride that brake just a little bit.
Yeah, if you're going to trail brake from the lead, you better have somebody behind you that you're good at working with, or be really good yourself. In some of these races with the Cup cars, I have done some trail braking to keep the guy behind you, just to suck him up just right coming off that corner, so he's right on your bumper going down the straightaway, because that's where I really want that push, and I don't want to pull out on him there. So yeah, that is a distinct possibility of something that might be going on, and you're more likely to see that as we get a little bit of wobbling going on there. In the middle, a couple cars shuffle, but they catch up. But you're more likely to see a leader trail braking when you got a car right outside your door handle and a guy behind you doesn't have the ability to duck out that half a lane or quarter lane to slow you down and stay on your bumper, in which case then, yeah, some of your better drivers or those that are a little more astute definitely will time a little bit of trail braking to keep that car directly on their bumper.
Yeah, definitely will. And I just noticed we have Jason Allison in chat. So welcome, Jason, to chat. And just an update, I think the overlays, the new tweaks are working good here. And, something we got here going on is we're watching them go single file right now. So not a whole lot of side-by-side racing going on. Let's take a minute here and let's go on aboard here with Daniel Holloway in that 21 as he's sitting in fourth place here. As really, this is the first time we've been on board to see the dashboard and everything with these new cars.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm going to drop mine in there right there at the same time you do. And, I think it'll also give you... There we go. We got a big wreck at the back of this pack car.
Uh-oh. We will go back to that real quick. It looks like Mitch Beaver's going to be involved and Alex Kynes are going to be involved. Well, let's go back and take a quick look. I'm beginning to think they don't want us to go on board. As soon as we do, the yellow comes out. And we'll see what happened here to involve the 25 of Mitch Beaver. As something happened here, and I'm wondering if it was another hook. It was indeed another bumper hook between him and I believe that was the 350 of Alex Kynes.
Yeah, I'm just catching up. Haven't been able to find it yet, but I'm seeing. I'm still watching for it here.
And we'll see. We're going back here to watch this again. We're watching the 350 as he does. We'll take a look right in here somewhere. Right in here, you'll see a bumper hook come up here in a minute on the replay for us. Right there is the bumper hook. He gets him. It bumps him right there. And it's unfortunate as it is our second caution and second bumper hook. And he just, you can tell he's on the brakes, but he just nearly slams back into the 25 of Mitch Beaver after the wreck is over, as he was just trying to get it going again here. Just a two-car wreck there.
Yeah, a little bit lucky there. We got 350. Probably going to need to get one of his new cars if he's going to keep up, missing a lot of his front end there. But these guys are able to pull two cars off the trailer.
They are indeed, so they'll get going back here, but we are under caution here for the second time with 43 laps to go. Still just over halfway to go left in this race. Everybody coming down pit road, so we're going to go ahead and stop, get to a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
I spent my whole life chained to the wall, hunger for more, not afraid to fall. Had to cut a man down to get where I am, but someone had to tumble and someone had to stand. And don't try to fight, there's nothing you can do, and I'm gonna run all over you. It's too late to try, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. I'm looking for new blood, and nothing's gonna stop me now. Yeah, I'm looking for new blood, and nothing's gonna stop me now. Nothing's gonna stop me. Looking for new blood.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. They're on the backstretch here, and we now officially have our first driver out of the race, and that was the 6 of Steven Patterson, who has actually been having some connection issues here, and he wasn't involved in that last wreck, so I'm wondering if maybe he got a little damage we didn't see, or if that was because of his connection issue.
Yeah, and just a little update here on pit road activity. Our first 4 cars, and actually 5 cars, did not pit. Brandon Wilson in the 501, Dwayne Cooper in the 00, Ted Manning in the 13, Darren Manning in the 41, and Dan Harrington in the 82 all opted to stay out there on those tires.
And interesting that Brandon Wilson, 14.7 seconds, still came out in second. As we're going to pull that up real quick for him to see. Started second, so pit stall once again coming into play for him, as he was able to get out even with 4 fresh tires. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if we get a caution late in this race and we do go racing again. But speaking of racing again, green flag is just about ready to come out once again to start lap 36, as it's a long ways to that line, as it's not dead center in the trail. It's actually a little further past it. It's actually past pit road. All right. Go ahead.
Go ahead there, Charles.
Oh, green flag is out. We are racing once again here at Talladega Super Speedway. And Jeff, you were just about to say something.
Oh, I was just going to point out that I believe the 501 who we're talking about did pit this time, or did not pit this time. Or at least my timing screen's saying that he didn't pit, that his pit times are still from the last pit stop. But since we're at commercial, I didn't see it myself, so I guess I can't confirm.
Well, that is what I'm seeing too. It shows our front 3, along with 5th and 6th, have 1 pit stop. Everyone else has 2. So indeed, that does seem to be correct, as we were on commercial break. Also, I want to point out here, go back to PJ O'Leary in the 24, back in 6th place now. 6.7 seconds, 6.4 for Donovan Ranta and Gary Champion, 7.1. So they were on pit stop just barely any time at all. They may have got a splash of fuel, and that's it.
Well, that's exactly what a 6-second pit stop is. They topped off with fuel, didn't bother with the tires, wanted the track position. Again, we're not that worried about tires here. So, you know, I figure if I'm going to get 6 seconds worth of gas, I might as well stay in there another 2 or 3 seconds and get those 2 tires personally. But I'm not sure how much track position they gain. It may have well been worth it for them.
Yeah, it very well could have been. As we'll go back and look here to Donovan Ranta, and we'll pull up his driver information here. He started 15th. He's in 6th right now, so that is a big gain. It was definitely a track position move, and it's paid off for him here so far in the short run. And, you know, like you talk about, and we keep saying, this is Talladega. It's not necessarily about tires. They're not going to get that worn, so I think that was a very good track position strategic move, especially if you were struggling to get to the front beforehand.
Maybe. I mean, we don't know what position they were in when they pulled in the pits. This lineup's been so shuffled, so I'm assuming when you say they started, you meant started the race, and we've had a couple pit stops and numerous guys from front to back to front, so not sure we know on that particular one, but looking at the number of cars that didn't take any tires, I'd say it was almost a had to do.
Yeah, definitely agree there. And two, you know, sometimes you hesitate. Do you go in or do you take no tires and get to the front of this pack? You know, I know last week we saw quite a few wrecks happening at the front of the field, where all the racing action was going on. This week, it's the opposite. We've seen the 2 cautions have been towards the back of the pack. So, a totally different scenario from last week, but, you know, it's Talladega. I still don't think we're out of the woods for the big one. I think it's coming. The question is how many will be involved and who will be involved.
Yeah, odds are it's coming. I do want to point out Chase Galvin there in the outside row, the second guy. You know, he's got that pink car for his daughter, so it's kind of hard to miss. I'm not really sure where he came from. He just kind of worked his way up there and showed up there. I'm not sure how far back he was on this restart, but I didn't see him up there in that first group of cars there a minute ago. So congratulations to him. He's working real hard there with the 18 of Gary Champion. He's got a heck of a push going on. I mean, they're bumper to bumper working it there, trying to push Gary Champion to the front, and he successfully does. Gary Champion able to come down and cover up the 00 of Dwayne Cooper, and Chase Galvin now leading that outside row.
He is indeed. We'll see if he can get pushed by the 76 of Scott Warren and everyone behind him and try to get up to the lead. And it looks like the 00 is going to sneak up there and try to capitalize on it. So he's going to try to get pushed back to the front. So Chase Galvin wanted to try to get the lead, but now Dwayne Cooper's going to try to steal that from him.
Yeah, I think you saw how well that top line was working together. Those first 3-4 cars really got bunched up there, and they're working that outside line, and figured he had a good shot of getting back to the lead if he jumped there in front of it. So we'll see if Chase Galvin able to push yet another driver to the front. Looks like the guys that were working with Chase Galvin may be cooling off a little bit as they backed off here temporarily, but now they get right back on his bumper, and they are able to push the 00 of Dwayne Cooper right back to the front. So that outside lane, at least those first 2-3 cars there that are left, these guys are working hard and able to shove guys to the front right now.
They are indeed. And before we talk about what I just saw there with the 26 and the 00, we just got a report from Ashley Daniel's sister, who is there with him at his house. His computer just shut off. That is why he is out of the race all of a sudden. So, apparently we're not the only ones having some computer issues, that definitely does stink. For your computer to shut off mid-race. So definitely not good there. And what I was fixing to say about the 26 and the 00 is that last lap when the 00 of Dwayne Cooper slid up in front of the 26, they were so close. I'm pretty sure the 00 of Dwayne Cooper has a little bit of pink paint on his back bumper right now.
Yeah, and that inside line's getting a little bit spread apart here. So we got the first 2 cars there on the inside line. Got quite a bit of distance there on the 13 of Ted Manning. This might be an opportunity for that outside row to get gathered up here a little bit. We've only got 3 cars, but somebody might be able to dive up there and make that work and get a good push and push several cars from that outside row up there. But as I say that, the guys from the outside jump right down into that inside and fill those gaps. So it takes all the momentum out of the outside, gets that inside going again, and now we got a bunch of guys trying to switch lanes. Not sure where they're at, regroup here, and we'll see what we end up with here.
Yeah, they are definitely just mixing it up really good right now. And again, this is exactly what we expected to happen. I expected it to see a little bit earlier, as we're just about at the halfway point. I do believe, actually, correction, we are past the halfway point. We now have 33 laps to go. This race is going very quickly because of the very few cautions we have had. And I just want to drop this down here and just let people see that for a minute. We put up our top 10 drivers graph here, and you'll just see how many times these names shuffle around and change here in the next lap. We're going to leave that up there, as they will change a lot just in one lap.
Yeah, we got a little bit excited there, that bottom row. We had the 13 of Ted Manning. Looked like he was trying to jump out to that outside row, thought better of it, came back down, and then we had the 24 P.J. O'Leary jump right up there now. So we've sorted that out, but we had a couple indecisive lane changes there that they may have backed out of that looked scary for a minute, but they're getting grouped back up here, and it looks like P.J. O'Leary might get pushed to the lead here, as the 76 of Scott Warren been working real good with everybody in front of him here tonight, doing an excellent job pushing these guys. He and Chase Galvin were working together for quite a while there, pushing guys to the front. So we'll see if Scott Warren can get P.J. O'Leary to the front and then claim that outside row there, and he does.
He did indeed, and P.J. O'Leary has officially led one lap here for tonight's race, so that'll be a bonus point for him. And, they're really starting to ramp it up here as we're on lap 45, fixing to be 46 of 75. Guys are really starting to realize, hey, we're getting close to the end of this race. As the 13 of Ted Manning gets a little bump from the 26 of Chase Galvin and gets a little out of shape, but what a save.
Yeah, what a save. So we got the top row here starting to fall apart a little bit. 3 cars going to have a tough time. Who's going to be the first guy from the inside if they start dropping back a little bit that jumps right back up to the front of that row? I'm looking for Ted Manning to maybe, if that outside row can't get it together here in a second, try to jump up front of that row. Looked like he wanted to before, and if he doesn't, I'm going to keep an eye on Chase Galvin too.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely keep him there. Again, we're rooting for him here because of the special paint job. It would be awesome to see him roll that thing into victory lane here tonight. I've spent some time with Chase, and, all things considered, this is a serious note for Chase, because normally he is probably the biggest goofball you will ever meet ever on this planet. So he does have a serious side, especially when he's racing and stuff about this. But he is such a cool guy. He definitely is a character to hang around with.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ted Manning, that 13, did opt to jump up to the outside lane. Thought he was going to get it going, but Scott Warren, the 76, tried to get a third lane going, which was a little bit of a setback for that outside line. But they've gathered it back up. And we've got nice 5 cars up here. If they can tighten this up, maybe we'll see Ted Manning take the lead here.
Yeah, definitely will be something to watch out for. And to answer the question in chat as to the points, we, again, are still trying to get some stuff in due to some computer issues. We're having to get all our overlays ready, get all the images and sponsors and stuff in there. And we just didn't have time, obviously, with the normal job to get that in as well. We will definitely have them back in next week, so we do apologize for not having the points in here because next week is the chase. So we're going to be looking for that.
Yeah, and I think he's wanting to know there, Charles, because I don't have the standings here. If we know who's on the bubble and who we should be keeping an eye on here, who's on the bubble falling out of the chase or getting in.
And I believe, if we'll take a look here and pull them up real quick, is the top 8 drivers that are in the chase. So the bubble spot in 9th is Scott Warren, and Chase Galvin is in 8th. So Chase Galvin is just about 8 points ahead. So Chase Galvin currently 8 points ahead, or no, 7. He has 7 to 8 points to 80, so only 2 points ahead of Scott Warren. So this could get a really good battle between them, as they are sitting right now in the front of this field in 9th place and 2nd place.
And that would, with Chase Galvin running in 2nd place, that would explain why maybe Scott Warren tried to start that 3rd row and get something going there. Scott Warren and Chase Galvin actually were working pretty good together there a little bit earlier, but like you said, pointing that out on the paints or the points there. And I'm not sure where we are with drops, because Scott Warren has not had as many races as Chase Galvin, so maybe there's a drop going to come into play and change things. But as it stands, Scott Warren 2 points behind Chase Galvin, so very close there for that final playoff spot. Jeff Meyer there about 7 points behind Chase Galvin for that final spot. And Alexander Russell only about 3 points ahead of Chase Galvin, so those would be the drivers that look to be on the bubble, not knowing where we stand on the drops.
And I'm not even sure if they even have any drops here in this series, to be honest. So, again, we'll have to clarify that. If we get a caution, maybe we can pull Tad or Midge up here to find out. Or maybe one of the drivers in chat, now there's a couple of them in there, can inform us if they do have any drops. If they don't, it's very close. Because we have tonight's race here on the 7th. Then the 14th is the first race of 8. And then the 20th is the 21st is the final 4. So there's only 2 more races after tonight.
Well, and we talked about Alexander Russell. He's only 5. He's in 7th place. He's only 5 points ahead of Scott Warren. And right now, Alexander Russell is cruising around in 23rd place there in that 32 car. So I've got to think that if these are shuffled and we don't have drops that are going to mess this up, I would guess right now that Alexander Russell's out and both Chase and Scott are in.
Yeah, and again, with this big of a field, that is a possibility of stuff that can happen. You've got to be up at the front, and this is one of those tracks where you just you have to have a little bit of luck on your side. Hopefully, Lady Luck's with you. Is it can definitely knock you out. 2 bad races in a row, and your season could be potentially really easily hindered if somebody else doesn't have bad luck as well.
Yeah, meanwhile, all that shuffling allowed us to get a little bit of breakaway pack there in the front. We've got 5 cars broken away. Ted Manning a couple car lengths back, but that looks to be intentional. He's not so far back. I think he could suck right up to that if he wanted to. So looks like he's just hanging back there a little bit, maybe waiting for this outside row to get going again, catch up, so he can slide right up in front of him and try to ride that up to the front. Although I would imagine that the 501 or the 00 or even Chase Galvin, one of these cars is going to have the same idea as that outside line starts getting a little bit closer.
Yeah, and going a little further back here, again, Daniel Holloway in this mix. Even though he is currently 4 laps down, they are going 2 and 3 wide. He's obviously going 3 wide to let them by. But they are starting to get 2 wide. And want to point out here that they are going to be catching some lap cars here shortly. So this could be interesting to see how they get around, as I believe that is... we'll find him. Alexander Russell, the one you were just talking about in the 32. He's on the backstretch right now, and so are the leaders. They're going to catch him here, so we'll see where he goes. If he's going to dive down low or go up high and let these guys by, and does it hinder this any at all?
Yeah, Alexander Russell in that precarious bubble spot right now certainly does not want to be the caution here. But he also doesn't want to go a lap down. He really needs to latch onto this pack, try to stay the first guy a lap down if he does, and get back on the lead lap, because he needs to pretty much finish within 5 places of the 76 of Scott Warren. If he can finish no further back than 5 spots from him, he should be safe. But if he finishes 6 spots or more, again, I'm going to give the caveat of the drops. I don't know what's going on there, but 6 spots or more behind Scott Warren. And Scott Warren would be the car in the chase.
Yes, it's going to get interesting. A lot of stuff going on. There goes the 76 and the 32. Caution is out. And we talked about it, how they were going to get around here. So let's go back and take a look. And I want to look here, point this out real quick. The 76 had already had to avoid the 32 at one point. So we're going back to watch this to see what happened. As if you go back about, we're looking about 40 seconds back here. There's the 76, has to take it all the way to the 3rd row to avoid hitting the 32. And then trying to get by him on the outside here. I'm just not sure. He just wasn't clear of the 32. Maybe he thought he was.
Well, I think, the 32 trying to merge in there, which is really what he had to do. Especially with this points battle going on. I know. Should he have done it? Should he not have done it? Should he have tried to merge further back? I don't know. I'm not going to make that argument right now. I thought what he did was all right to the point, except for the fact that he really made Scott Warren take it out the wall checkup. Scott Warren did that fine, but I think it upset the lines enough. The guy on the inside looked like maybe it caught him off guard, and he started moving a little bit, which then made the 32 kind of move to the outside, and then 76 Scott Warren kind of made a reactive move to that, and the next thing you know, they got all tangled up.
It did indeed, as we'll go back to our main camera and go up to live, and that is going to leave the 76 of Scott Warren smoking very badly along with the 32, so they're going to have to get in and hopefully have fast repairs left here. But up front, we now exactly have 20 to go as everybody is coming down pit road.
Yeah, so our 2 chase bubble cars there having some troubles here. What does that mean for us? Have they already burned a fast repair? Do they have another car sitting on the trailer that they can pull off? Do they have to tow? Scott Warren looks like he's able to get in under his power. Alexander Russell, I can't tell if he had to tow or not. It looks like he's able to drive in too, judging by his speed. So looks like they're both going to drive in, but they're both going to need a new car, and they're both going to start in the back. Alexander Russell being the first car lap down and involved in that accident, though, will not get the lucky dog.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, as it will happen. We'll see here. Looks like Gary Champion is not going to come down pit road, so he is not going to take tires here. Again, we've seen it. It hasn't really been a factor. We knew it wouldn't be. The question is, will he be able to hang on to that track position here for 19 laps? It's going to be about 17 when we go green.
Yeah, the other question is how much fuel does he have? With 24 laps already on those tires and 17 laps to green, that's going to put him up around 41 laps or so on this stint, this fuel run. I don't know how much fuel these guys are able to hold right now. But seeing how everybody else pitted and only 3 guys stayed out, I would say that that's going to be probably close to the cutoff line. And there may be some concerns there. Meanwhile, the 32 of Alexander Russell did not get a new car off the trailer, so it would appear that he is out of cars, and this very likely is going to put him out of the playoffs. Not sure. I don't believe he's going to be able to keep up with that damaged car.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he could. Again, this is, most tracks here we talk about, we have our stuff set to 20 to go, because that is kind of, for a mile and a half or shorter, that is go time. You've got to get to the front if you want to make something happen and have time to get by. Here, I really think it's kind of 10 to go. We'll get your thoughts on that, but I think it's more of the 10 to go range because of the fact that we say this every week, you want to get to the front, but you don't want to leave too much time and too many laps for someone to mount a run and get back by you again.
If I'm out there on that track right now, I'm going to the front. I'm doing everything I can to get to the front, and I'm getting there as fast as I can. We got 17 to go. We're probably going to get another caution. There's a good chance we finish under a caution, so even though we got 17 laps to go, that could very easily be 8 or 10 or whatever. So, right here, if I'm on the track, it's go time, and it's time to go to the front, which means it's time to start driving a little bit more aggressively. Let's make that third line work. Let's get on somebody's bumper. Let's get on somebody's door handles. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think it is go time here. And it looks like Gary Champion, yeah, there he is going to be out front. Daniel Jackson beside him. And one thing that we've seen in past races, we're about to go racing again here, is we've seen teammates that have been up front before that have gotten inside and outside row, and they try to lead this pack on the inside and outside. We have not seen that here tonight in this race. So we'll see. We are getting reports that the front 3 are teammates right now with Gary Champion, Daniel Jackson, and Chase Galvin. So maybe for the first time we'll see that.
It's a lot easier to do at Daytona. Here at Talladega, I think, especially with a crew like this, these guys are comfortable running 3 wide. I think you're going to have a lot harder time controlling 3 rows because that's what you'd really need to do, because I think they can get around on that 3rd row here. With this crew, I think it works maybe with a little more inexperienced crew or on a narrower track like Daytona. But I don't think these guys will waste any time getting that 3rd row going. From a strategic point, maybe you can say to yourself that, yes, but we'll force these guys to be a little aggressive. Maybe they'll wreck behind us, and it gives them less time to try to overtake us. So we'll see what happens.
Now, definitely all that stuff will be answered here shortly as the pace car is slowly getting off the track. Unlike some tracks where it dives off, it takes a nice slow journey down the pit road. But again, we are going to be getting that green flag once again here at Talladega Superspeedway. We've had 3 cautions, very low cautions, I think, here compared to some, as the green flag does come out 17 laps ago when they crossed the line. Here again, racing once again at Talladega Superspeedway with 17 to go. And again, I think it's anybody's race here in probably the top 15, maybe even further back to win this thing.
Yeah, Chase Galvin with a fantastic start as the caution comes out. I'm not sure what happened there.
And, we got cars upside down, the 76 of Scott Warren.
76 of Scott Warren. Oh, man, for our bubble driver, the night just gets worse. I think all he had to do was probably finish this a couple spots up from the back there, given the damage that Alexander Russell had. So I'll have to see what happened here, but this is not good for Scott Warren.
No, and the 21 of Daniel Holloway getting involved as well, as his night couldn't get worse here because of the disconnect. His computer just shut down. Then that happens, and I'm not sure who that is. Looks like the 53, or is it the 63?
63 of Jody Burton there.
We'll go back and look at the 63 and see if we can figure out what happened there. Those two definitely got together. I don't know who I would say is at fault because we don't have a good shot here. We're going to keep trying to see if we can find one. But definitely contact between
Warren just kind of took the middle line there, took him 3 wide, and I'm not sure that Jody Burton knew that he was 3 wide. I don't know if he wasn't expecting it or what, but it looked like he just tried to drive right back down to that outside line and didn't realize that he'd been taken 3 wide there. So it's a little bit of an aggressive move on the restart there by Scott Warren. Not sure if Jody should have been aware or not.
Definitely, so many things play into to this. Again, that's why we don't call fault. We just said what happened, and they made contact. Obviously, it was a little early, in my opinion, maybe to go 3 wide. When they barely had crossed the start-finish line, if they'd even crossed it yet. So maybe a little early there, but on the flip side, if somebody does, that's what we talked about. You definitely have to be situational awareness, aware. You have to know who's around you, and that's where that spotter comes in. Then again, sometimes that spotter does not do a very good job.
Yeah, or if you're going to take it 3 wide that early by splitting the middle like that, I think you probably got to stay down a little bit low. I don't think you can expect that outside car to know that you just drove under him and took his lane. Because he may not be willing to give it up, and if you're Scott Warren, you really need to keep your car intact.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep it intact. It's unfortunate it happened, but one thing for Daniel Holloway, that did get him one of his laps back, so he's only 2 laps down. I don't think we would have enough cautions here to get him back, unless that caution came out, the 2 cautions came out back-to-back here like that one did. He could get back on the lead lap and still have racing time left. But depending on when they come out, I think it's unfortunate he probably wouldn't have time to get back up there and have time to actually race to the front and get his laps back.
Yeah, so now I'm looking at bubble drivers here, looking at the standings here, because we've got Scott Warren, who's damaged, doesn't have another car, going to finish in the back. Alexander Russell probably going to finish in the back. I think we got to look at Jeffrey Meyer as being the guy because he was only about 15 spots back from Alexander Russell. So Alexander Russell in 25th place. Again, we don't know about the drops, but if Jeffrey Meyer can finish in the let's say the top 8, top 5, somewhere in there, and he's currently in 10th spot, I think chances are good he could actually get sneak in from 10th place here tonight and claim that 8th playoff spot.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to keep a very close eye here. And I'm not sure what happened to Ted Manning, but in that 13, it is showing him out of the race now. For some reason, it's showing him in first. He is not in first. He is actually out of the race here. He was on pit road and pit lane for 3.5 seconds. So pulled it to pit road and shut it down. Something definitely happened there. As we'll see, I didn't think about it. The fact Daniel Holloway is going to get another one of his laps back, so we'll see if he's able to get another one. They did. I figured they'd give him one wave around, but they have given him another wave around there on this one, this caution. And it, it's a touchy subject, I think, to whether you get those laps back or not. But computer shutting down, is not a something that was out of his control. So, those are tough decisions for admins.
Yeah, especially when those decisions have implications that they could possibly have tonight. Definitely a tough position. That's where you just hope there's precedent in place, and you can stick to the precedent.
Yeah, I mean, I know I can say this as a league owner myself. I've had that happen before. They didn't disconnect like that due to a computer shutting down. we actually had a driver get stuck in the wall during a wreck, and they would have gone one lap down, and instead they had to tow. They ended up going like 4 or 5 laps down, and we did wave around all but one of those because obviously they would have had to probably limp it and get damage repairs. They didn't have any fast repair. So they had one fast repair, but he would have limped it around on a short track and went a lap down. So it is a very tough decision, but we'll see. It looks like they're going to give him as many as they can, but he's going to tag to the back 1 lap down. So 1 caution, and he's back on the lead lap, and he's still got a shot to get a top 10 possibly.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to point out our bubble drivers are Chase Galvin, who's probably currently, as we sit right now, in 7th place. We've got, as it sits right now, Alexander Russell, I believe, is in 8th place. And then I'm going to say 9th place is actually probably the 501 of Brandon Wilson. And then tied with him right about now would be the 50 of Jeffrey Meyer. And I'm going to say that these guys are probably 2 or 3 spots behind Alexander Russell. So I think the 50 and the 501 look like if they can get up into that top 5, whichever one of them finishes ahead, have a good shot at sneaking into the playoffs here. And they are right next to each other in the 4th row in this restart.
They are indeed. Again, it just seems like we just started this series, and here we are 2 races away from being at the end after this one. Again, this season has come and gone very quickly here. As we're about to start it here once again. Going to be 13 laps to go when they take the green flag once again, as it is just moments away. Chase Galvin sitting in 2nd. Gary Champion going to be leading them to the line, and they're keeping them nice and tight and bunched up here. As there it is, green flag back in the air. We are racing once again here at Talladega Super Speedway, and there it is, 13 laps to go. Will we see another caution, or will this thing go green the rest of the way?
Yeah, Chase Galvin with a fantastic start there, although a fantastic start's not always good here at Super Speedway races, as the 71 of Daniel Jackson slipped back a little bit, but Chase's buddy there, Randy Post, in the 54 car, was there to give the 71 a bump and get him back to the 76's bumper. Meanwhile, the 501 slides into the inside row, 2 spots ahead of the 50, and the 32 actually dropped back a couple positions here to 24th place. I'm sorry, he's up to 23rd place now, and the 50 of Jeffrey Meyer in 9th place would be 14 spots ahead. So keep an eye on these guys getting in the top 5, the 501 and the 50, and Chase Galvin being able to maintain his spot. I think that's where the race for the chase is.
Yeah, I definitely do. We're keeping an eye on those. And we'll see if we do have that caution. It's 12 laps to go. As we'll go to the front, they're starting to shake. And the bake around here is, just a fun little thing there. But they are weaving it back and forth, trying to find where they want to be. And there is nobody out right now on the outside helping anybody. That is the 00 of Dwayne Cooper all by himself. And he's going to fall to about 6th position here.
Yeah, tough call if you're Chase Galvin right now. You want to secure your spot, so you want to just duck in line and just run safely to 3rd place. But everything in you wants to win and get out there and jump up there with Dwayne Cooper. But good, smart racing by Chase Galvin there to be okay with 3rd place here. And we are single file right now all the way back to about the 50 car. So, and the 00 blinking in and out there. So that's a little bit scary right in front of both the 501 and the 50. So 501 and the 50 need to figure out how to get up there into that top 5. As Alexander Russell continues to make up a little bit of ground in the back right now. He's up to 22nd place. So these guys definitely want to finish 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in there at a minimum. And they have a chance to sneak into the playoffs here, I believe.
Yeah, they are. And looking back here to about 9th, about 8th through 11th, 12th, somewhere there. These guys are actually racing a little bit more than the front pack is, as I see a lot of cars getting loose here a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how it is. And I want to point out here that our front, let's say, I think it's 10 cars here. So we'll go directly to 10th place there of Darren Manning. He is our only Toyota majority of our field is that new Camaro. Again, I don't think it's running better than any other car, but it is interesting to see that new Camaro is in about, I'd say, 7 positions of our top 10.
Well, the conspiracy theories will abound, and about half the time those end up being about right, as Randy Post and Dwayne Cooper contemplate trying to get something to go. Oh, the caution's out.
Caution is out, and that is horrible news. We just got word again that Daniel Holloway's computer shut down again, and he was set to get back on the lead lap. We're going to go back and take a look, and I think it's going to be possibly Jody Burton in the 63, as he is on pit road now for 8 seconds. So let's go back and take a look.
Yeah, I saw the 63 skidding across the gas. Not sure what caused it. He's right back there with that 32 again.
Oh,
and it looked like the car that was in front of him, green and black car or something, in front of the 63.
I believe, not sure, we're trying to figure out who that was, as it may have been the 350 of Alex Kinsler. It was. Let's go back and take another look at that, as I think some contact was made there, as he has heavy damage.
A little bit off-centered by John LeBombard in the 95 to the left rear bumper of Alex Kinsler, sent him around and collected some cars back there.
He did indeed, and that was a hard lick from the 95. As there's the hook right there, gets into some people. The 95 just hammers that outside wall very hard.
Yeah, and the 32 is just sitting there kind of counting his blessings a little bit. They very easily could have come down on him. He's right underneath that whole thing, but they bounced out to the wall. And, that's a lucky break there for the 32. Alexander Russell could not afford to lose any more places right now, as he's trying hard to not let those guys in front of him get too far in front. He's already forced them to possibly need a top 5 in order to pull this off.
Yeah, it's we'll see. Again, anything is possible, I think. We'll see if they can do it, though. Right now, I'm not sure. I don't think the 3 teammates are up front anymore. Mark Johnson in that 48 sitting in second place. Gary Champion, I want to point out, earlier we talked about it, he did not go down pit road. He stayed out 35 laps on those tires and that fuel. 8 to go. With these cautions late in the race, I think you probably should make it on fuel. He should be able to, and obviously that was a really good call for him.
Yeah, I think these cautions probably going to get him there. I mean, I can only guess. He's not running in and trying to top off a fuel or anything. I don't know what they're getting. If I had to guess, I was going to say around 40 laps. So with 7 to go, that makes him go 42. And we know we've had probably at least 10 caution laps out of this. So I would expect him to be good to go.
Yeah, I definitely would expect him to be good to go as well, as they are currently under caution here. Lights are still on, so we're going to go ahead and cut to a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
I spent my whole life chained to the wall, hungry for more, not afraid to fall. Had to cut a man down to get where I am, but someone had to tumble and someone had to stand. Don't try to fight, there's nothing you can do, and I'm gonna run all over you. It's too late to try, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. I'm looking for new blood, and nothing's gonna stop me now. Yeah, I'm looking for new blood, and nothing's gonna stop me now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Lights are off on the pace car, and we talk about it every single week. It is go time, and this is the point of no return. We will go green with 5 laps to go. That means that if a caution does come out, this race is over. However, I do want to point this out. If I recall, and I didn't dream this, hopefully I didn't. If I recall, I was talking to Ted Manning, and I think for next season they are considering green-white checkers. So if that's the case, race wouldn't be over, but that is for next season, as the race would be over if we get a caution here after we go green.
Yeah, and I took our little break there, went back and looked at the points so I would quit guessing. I am showing Alexander Russell as 10 points ahead of Jeff Meyer and 11 points ahead of Brandon Wilson. So Alexander Russell's in 20th place right now. So as it stands right now, Brandon Wilson and Jeffrey Meyer would be tied as their orders, inverted here for that 8th and final playoff spot. We are at a dead heat tie the way they sit right now. So unless something happens and Alexander Russell finds some speed with that tore-up car, I don't think that will happen. The battle for that last playoff spot looks to be between the 50 and the 501. So this should be an excellent finish here.
Yeah, definitely should be a good finish. It's been a great race here. So we're about to go green. We'll take a look. 5 cautions, and the majority of those just started happening as we had a lot of green flag racing here. 13 laps under caution. 5 to go at the line, 12 different lead changes, and it's been a very interesting race. We've had 7 different leaders, as once again they're holding them to the very last minute here. Gary Champion is. We'll see, will that strategy to get out front give him the win? As there it is, green flag is back out here at Talladega Superspeedway. Gary Champion on the gas pedal, but so is everybody behind him. That was a terrific start for everyone.
Oh, especially by Chase Galvin. They're able to get right up there on Gary Champion's bumper and keep them from losing any momentum there right now. Forces the 48 of Mark Johnson to actually pull into the inside lane, abandon that outside lane. And so now if you're the 26 of Chase Galvin, it's just bring this car home in one piece, stay up there in that top 5, lock in your place spot, because you got 2 guys just a few spots behind you in that 50 and that 501. That would love to get up there ahead of you and claim some playoff spots here.
Yeah, definitely would love to get up there and claim some spots. It's going to be 4 to go at the line this time. Oh, we got someone going around in the back. Will it bring out the caution? They're off the racing surface. I don't think it's going to. Well, there it is. The caution is out. Race is over.
And just as that happened, the 50 car there got in that outside row, and he lost about 3 spots. So Jeffrey Meyer lost about 3 spots again. 100% unofficial, because we do not know what's going on at the drops. But with our amateurish points guessing up here, I do believe that the 501 of Brandon Wilson may have locked up that final playoff spot. Came into the night in 11th place and may leave the night in 8th.
Definitely not. And somebody pulling off the track in a hurry. I'm not sure who that was. That was the 00 of Dwayne Cooper. Just dove it into the corner. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm going to go back and take a look.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I hear some spotter chatter on the radio right now that there's a few upset drivers here, so I'm not sure what happened. I don't think they were necessarily upset at the 00, but there's some upset drivers on the radio right now.
Yeah, that's that might be back there, but that's interesting. We'll try to figure out what that is. And right here, you see the 00 just all of a sudden just broke hard to the left, drove it straight into the wall, and that's going to send him all the way back in this field. So I'm not sure what happened there. He's going to be scored way back now, so I'm wondering if he had some steering wheel or computer failure there.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what brought that caution out. Were you able to determine that there,
I
Charles?
was not, but it was somebody went down to the bottom of the track. I'm just not sure who it was. thinking it was somewhere back here around the
It
338.
was a 41. I heard the number 41 brought up on the radio, and the contact sounded like he may have been the one that brought the caution out. So I'm going to go back and look at that.
Will definitely be interesting to hear what happened back there, as that caution will end this race.
76 of Scott Warren. Looked like he just got into the left rear corner of the 41, turned him, and he shot down to the inside wall and clipped a couple cars on his way down there.
Yeah, that's definitely not what they wanted, and we'll see. Maybe we'll find out what all that chatter was about on the radio. But obviously some people not very happy, which it's racing. That is going to happen. You're not going to make everyone happy for sure.
Yeah, and this race looks to be in the books if some of these guys can make it around these final laps here. Gary Champion going to be our winner here. Chase Galvin with the fantastic finish there, locking in his playoff spot tonight in the 26 car. Mark Johnson going to be a 2 weeks in a row here, I believe, with a podium finish for him. Randy Post just missed his second one in a row there in fourth place in the 54. And Daniel Jackson in the 71 would round out our top five.
Yeah, we'll see. So interesting, Randy Post, our VRN car just shy of a podium finish, so unfortunate there. But a lot of very good drivers out front here. While we're under caution here for another 2 laps at the line, let's go back and take a look here at our top 3. Anyway, we'll keep a look on these. Gary Champion led 19 laps. He started 3rd, went up to 1st, so he gained 2 spots, so a definitely improvement for him. Chase Galvin, I think, will be our biggest mover here tonight. Finishing 2nd, he started in 21st. So he came through this field, which again, coming through the field, it's Talladega or Daytona. So that in itself, where you qualify, really isn't too big of a deal. But to get through this field and not be involved in a caution, that's a pretty good feat. So to go from 21st to 2nd, good job for him. And 16th to 3rd for Mark Johnson. So 2 of our top 3 drivers were not even in the top 15 and came back to finish in the top 3.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's we talked about at the beginning of the race. We said starting position, or at least winning the pole, doesn't necessarily indicate that you're going to be the fastest car on that track. It just meant you knew how to drive the best qualified lap. We oftentimes see cars go from the back. So we see a lot of cars start in the back on purpose, a lot of fast cars. We see some cars start in the front. It seems pretty rare that we see cars start in the middle intentionally. Usually they're aiming for the front of the back. So, Randy Post was another big mover. He moved up 20 spots. He moved actually further up than Chase Galvin did. He went from 25th to 5th. So, we also had Dan Harrington in the 82 came up from 27 to 8th. So a lot of our top 10 guys started in the back of the field tonight.
Yeah, definitely worked their way through. And again, this is a product of plate racing. You never know what you're going to get. And then it's kind of, it's awesome they made it through the field without any damage. But that is typical. You sometimes can see people come from the back to the front. It happens more often than you would think, probably. But tonight, let's take one last look here. I want to see our list here, and just to add to those conspiracy theories, to those people that like those kind of thing. Take a look. Who is our 10th place car right now? We'll take a look. That is TJ Buck back here. Looking here, 9 out of our top 10 are the new Camaro.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looked like a good percentage of them were running the Camaro tonight, but you're absolutely right there. That should fuel the conspiracy theories.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, it may be 8, actually. There we go. We got some sorting out here. And it is still going to be 9 out of the 10. So 9 out of 10, the new Camaro here tonight. Does the new Camaro have any sort of advantage? What's funny is, there's conspiracy theories here on iRacing. Does it have an advantage to new car? Not much testing on it. those are the same conspiracy theories that you see in the real world. I know last year they were saying the Toyota had a huge advantage because of its front bumper. It's not limited to here to iRacing.
No, it's absolutely not. And we had the night it was released, we saw the new Camaro was listed as having less horsepower than the old Chevy SS, I think it was. So we already had some conspiracy theories around as to whether or not horsepower was all the same on these things. So, it's just like regular racing. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Well, it's also if you're not trying to find out, if there's an exploit or if there's an advantage or whatever you want to call it, you're also not trying. So I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there doing some testing with the Camaro and the draft to see if it handles different versus the Ford versus the old Chevy versus the Toyotas and trying to, I have no doubt there are people out there testing the crap out of this thing right now just to see if what we're talking about, is actually happening.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I will say right now that less horsepower doesn't necessarily mean anything. I have been around racing enough to know that is not the case. Prime example, go-kart racing that I was heavily involved in. You had the two strokes versus the 4 strokes. You think the 4-stroke might get it, but the 2 strokes usually came out ahead. So less horsepower doesn't necessarily mean a slower car. So interesting to see how it all goes out, what all the conspiracy theories are out there. What we do know for a fact here is right now it's actually showing Chase Galvin going to be getting the win here, followed by Mark Johnson and Randy Post.
So while we were talking, what happened to Gary Champion? What did we miss?
He is completely disconnected. I'm not sure if he had a connection issue. Maybe you can find out there. I didn't think to look for it, to be honest. I didn't think anything would happen. But he has disconnected in some way, giving the win to Chase Galvin.
Yeah, latency. He fell through to an unacceptable level. So his internet gave way. So, oh my, what an unfortunate incident there. You're happy for Chase Galvin with that special paint job that he has for his daughter on there tonight. But the same token, to have internet connectivity drop you out of a race that you had won while you're pacing, man, that's just a horrible thing to have happen to you.
It definitely is, and they're just having a little fun out on the track now. As he's going to tear that car up before he even gets to do any celebrating with it. He's going to go through the grass now. But we're going to go ahead and get to your post-race results here, as they are just tearing these cars up out on the track right now. It almost looks like your demolition derby after the race.
Yeah, it almost does. I'm assuming that the 71 may also be a teammate of them then? Is that what's going on there? Cause,
I believe he is indeed. Daniel Jackson is a teammate with them, so he is down there as well. We got 28 drivers that were supposed to start here, so we'll go ahead and get to the results here for the race. Jeff, you want to roll through our top 15 in points, and then I will bring us home.
You want points, or do you want finishing position tonight, Charles?
Finishing positions. Well, we got points on the brain here tonight.
All right, your winner tonight with the special paint job coming from the back to the front, the 26 of Chase Galvin. In second place, the 48 of Mark Johnson. In third place, in the last podium spot, the 54, the biggest mover of the race, also coming from the back to the front, and another podium repeat from last week, the VRN car driven by Randy Post. In fourth place, we got the 71 of Daniel Jackson. In fifth place, who we believe may be the guy that made the chase tonight, and I hope we can find out, but the 501 of Brandon Wilson. In sixth place, we got the 82 of Dan Harrington. In seventh place, the 112 of Harry Tiller. In eighth place, we got the 50 of Jeffrey Meyer. In ninth place, we got the 84 of TJ Buck. Coming home in P10, we got the 83 of Jason Papp. In 11th place, we got the 24 of P.J. O'Leary. The 420 of Donovan Ranta brings it home 12th. In 13th place, we got the 350 of Alex Kinsler. In 14th place, we got the 388 of Douglas Johnson. And rounding out your top 15 is the 41 of Darren Manning.
In 16th place will be the 63 of Jody Burton. 17th will be the 16 of Jason Eisenhower. 18th will be the 32 of Alexander Russell. 19th will be the 25 of Mitch Beaver. And showing two 19s here, but that should be interesting there. 20th spot should be the 95 of John Lombard. 21st will be the 411 of Eric Green. 22nd will be the 18 of Gary Champion. That's showing 21st. That is not correct. 23rd will be the 76 of Scott Warren. 24th will be Dwayne Cooper. And 25th will be the 21 of Daniel Holloway. 26th will go to the 13 of Ted Manning. 27th will go to the 6 of Stephen Patterson. And the 28th place is the number 66 of Scott Leitner, who did not start the race here tonight. That being said, we will be right back here with your post-race show. So give us just a few moments, and we will be right back. All right, folks, we are back once again here with the post-race show, and we do have our third place driver here, as I'll go ahead and do that interview, and then we'll let Jeff talk to our winner here tonight. And, of course, coming in third after a interesting disconnection there, had a fall out of the session. That's unfortunate for Gary Champion. But your third place driver here tonight is going to be the 54 of Randy Post, driving, of course, the VRN car here tonight. You didn't lead any laps, though. You started 25th and up to third. What a finish for you here tonight.
Yeah, that was quite the finish. I mean, awesome race. Everybody was really well. The first part of the race, we had really no cautions from what I remember, but I just remember this last couple laps. I had a lot of fun tonight pushing Chase. I said at the beginning of the race I was going to push Chase as much as I could because he has a chance at the Chase for the next couple of weeks. So I wanted to get him up there. And I know coming in late in the season, I couldn't push him as much, or I couldn't get into the Chase, but I could help my teammates.
Well, definitely going to help your teammates there. That is a very good thing to do. You got to help them get a good finish if you can. But again, we got a little extra something to do here for the show here in a minute. So again, we don't want to keep anybody too long here. We're going to go over the point standings, as we do have the updated version here for the Chase coming up. We just got those in, but again, outstanding race here for you at Talladega. You did finish in third place. We don't have a second to talk to, but anybody sponsors on there and any shout out you want to give?
Yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to VRN for letting me put the name on the car. I know I think it was really small on this one, but huge shout out to those guys for letting me run their name and everything. And Team Olivia for Chase's daughter. All of DUI, Eric, Donnie, Chase, Alex Kinsler, all those guys. If I'm forgetting some off the top of my head, I don't know. But awesome to finish top 3 in the past 2 weeks in a row. So really excited for this next couple of weeks.
All right. Well, we do not again have second place, but we do have Chase Galvin here in first place, and I believe Jeff, you have caught up with him.
Yeah, I think I have. Chase, you got a copy there, buddy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, congratulations on the win. I know that's probably not the way you wanted to get the win, but you were up front all night long. I think you had plenty of opportunity to take the win there at the end. It looked like you were doing some points racing. We saw you get out front there on the outside line, but you dove in and kept it down there on the inside line at the end of that race. Resisted the urge to jump back out when that outside line looked like it might be getting back together. So from our perspective, it definitely looked like you were points racing there at the end. Gary Champion has some internet connection problems. You end up with the win anyways. You're running a special paint job for your daughter tonight. So it sounds like there's a lot going on. You locked up a Chase playoff spot, you get the win, and you got the special paint job for your daughter. I'm not even sure where to start with this with this conversation. So why don't you start by just telling us about the race tonight, and in particular, what was going on and what was going through your mind there at the end, winning versus just getting that playoff spot.
Sure, yeah, man. How about that race? Whew, that was crazy. That had to be a good one to watch. But so, unfortunately, when you're in these cars, you kind of have to be selfish, and you tend to make people mad. But these cars are unforgiving. You don't have a lot of opportunity to make forward progress, so you tend to dive underneath people when you can. You have the opportunity, and you just gotta race smart, but race aggressive, because track position's everything in these cup cars. At the end there, I was waiting until about the last lap for that outside lane to make a run. Unfortunately, we didn't make it there, but because if you go too soon and the outside lane falls off, you're just going to fall like a rock. And so I think on the last lap, that outside lane would have been there. I would have been able to make a run and probably win it, but caution came out, unfortunately. And this isn't the way I wanted to win it, but I'll definitely take it. Finished second a couple times now, so it feels good to finally get in victory lane.
Absolutely. Congratulations. We don't always get them the way we want them, but a win is a win, buddy. And you're in victory circle tonight. You've also locked up a playoff spot. We got the updated playoff points. You finished in 6 spots. You came in the night in 8th place. You're leaving the night in 6th place. So tell us what the playoff chase means from you, and what we should expect to see from you in the chase.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to be in the chase with the Team Olivia car. It's the first week I ran it. I think I'll keep running it now. Seems to be a good luck charm. But the way the chase is set up, you're going to have to be aggressive. You're not going to have much of a choice. I mean, it's a 1 week or 1 lap will decide the champion, champion. So you're going to have to be super aggressive. You're going to have to be there at the right time. I mean, it's me and Charles had talked about last week. You need a little bit of luck to win these things, and I don't know how much luck you can get to me tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that paint job brought you a little bit of luck here tonight. I did miss your pre-race interview, but I did get the rundown from Charles during the race, and immediately you became my favorite driver on the night, so soft spot for the kids there. Anything you want to say about the paint job or anything here before we get you to your shout-outs?
Yeah, it's just a paint scheme. I had Airborne Graphics make for my daughter. She was born with a brain tumor and has gone through a lot of heartache and a lot of troubles, multiple surgeries, stuff like that. We continue to fight every day. She's 3 years old now, and we're keeping on. Every day we make a little progress. So that's all you can hope for is, progress, even if it's the smallest. You can never give up. So this was a tribute to her. She's been a rock. She's been a blessing to me, and we'll continue to fight for her every day. So, you know, this paint scheme meant a lot to me. You know, my daughter has touched a lot of people's hearts with what she's gone through and stuff. So there's a lot of people that were looking for this scheme tonight. She's touched a lot of hearts. Hopefully she continues to. She's a warrior. So, you know, this paint scheme is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's just fantastic story. I think you probably picked up a lot of fans tonight, or at least I hope you did, or maybe your daughter picked up the fans. I don't know, but I think it's just a great story, and I'm sure you got some shout outs to give out there, sponsors to thank, buddies to thank. Have at it, man. It's all yours.
Yeah, obviously DUI Racing, you know, we're a solid team. We talk, we hang out, we work together all the time. You know, Donovan Ranta, Randy Post, Alex Kinsler, Eric Green, you know, great guys, some of my good friends, and we work together all the time. And you know, shout out to Car Keepers for putting this on. You know, it's not an easy job either. And shout out to you guys for putting it on every week. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Chase. Congratulations on the win, on locking down the playoff spot, and we're going to send this back to Charles so we can talk about those playoffs.
All right, we of course are back, and we're going to go through those points very quickly here. We don't have, I don't think it has the exact points. I see some numbers mixed in there, but the 8 drivers that will be in the chase starting next week. That will be in this order from 1st to 8th: Daniel Harrington, Daniel Jackson, Justin Levine, Gary Champion, and I know some people were asking about this person. In 5th place is Daniel Holloway. He is still in the chase after his unfortunate luck here tonight. Chase Galvin will be in 6th. Chris Akers, who is not here tonight, will be in 7th. And Jeffrey Meyer will be your 8th place driver coming in to the chase next week. So we'll be highlighting those drivers. We'll probably put a special graphic in there so you know who they are, whether it be on the ticker or on the driver bar. That being said, it is just about time to sign off here for tonight's broadcast. We do want to thank all the sponsors involved with this race and broadcast, starting of course with CarKeepers.com. If you need to maintenance your car and you just don't know how to do it, or you just don't have the time, you can head over to CarKeepers.com and they will send somebody to you to do that maintenance on your car, to keep that hassle out of your hands and out of your hair. So make sure you head on over to CarKeepers.com. On the broadcast side of things, we want to give a big shout out to all of our partners as well. As I mentioned before, Wool's Beard Co., Beard Balm, SimSpeedShop.com, Northwest Racing Series, Ohio IndyCar League, iBog, and of course Randy's Wraps. All of them coming on board here for 2018. So that being said, that will do it here for tonight's broadcast. We'll see you Sunday, as we are off tomorrow. Gonna do some catching up to do from all of the chaos from this week. So we'll see you at Sunday's Throwback Series for Racecore, a brand new series coming this Sunday.